Commonwealth Stadium, the second half of the Alberta grudge match between the Eskimos and Stampeders. Monday, they played in Calgary, and Stampeder fans basked in the glory of their team's victory over Edmonton. Tonight, it's the Eskimos' turn. Their park, their field, their fans, and it's a chilly September night, but a gorgeous one nonetheless, and the Edmonton Eskimos expect their largest crowd of the season as they take on Wally Buono's Calgary Stampeders. Buono is 9-9 as a head coach against the Edmonton Eskimos. Ron Lancaster's Eskimos enter this game at 6-4 on the season, 4-1 at home, but his club has lost 4 of its last 5 regular season games against Calgary. The Stampeders can all but wrap up first place in the Western Division with a win tonight, while the Eskimos try to stay within shouting distance. I'm Gord Miller along with Glenn Suter. Welcome to Commonwealth Stadium, Glenn, for one of our favorite games of the year.
Oh, it's an exciting game to be in. Lots of fans in the stands, and this rivalry. Last week it was a real aggressive hitting contest, and we're going to see the same thing tonight.
Special teams played a major role in the first meeting between these two on Monday in Calgary. Particularly Terry Vaughan's returns and Edmonton's inability to cover kicks. Sean Fleming will kick it off for the Edmonton Eskimos, who won the pregame coin toss but deferred their choice to the second half. Terry Vaughan returned 6 punts for 105 yards in that football game and was also a major threat for the Calgary offense, which will get the first touch tonight. Vaughan and Coleman are back deep. Underway in Edmonton. Marvin Coleman from the 12-yard line. And Coleman picks his way ahead to the 27-yard line. Jed Roberts got down to make the stop, along with Bruce Dixon, a 15-yard return. The starting lineups tonight are brought to you by Corral. Jeff Garcia, the 26-year-old, is 17-2 as Calgary's starting quarterback since taking over for Doug Flutie 1 year ago. He is joined by Travis Moore, Terry Vaughan on the outside, Dave Sapunjis, Alan Pitts, Kelvin Anderson, and Dwayne Ford behind an offensive line that has been outstanding this season. Only 11 sacks allowed, best in the league. On first down, the give goes to Kelvin Anderson, who slides ahead to the 30-yard line, a gain of 3.
Defensively for the Edmonton Eskimos, the front seven led by Malvin Hunter, who leads the league in sacks with 11. He's joined by Benny Goods, Derek McCready, and Leroy Blue back in the lineup. Linebacking core is Ruck, Pless, and Mobley. And in the secondary, Malcolm Franks is the best cover guy for Edmonton this year. Kavis Reed leads the league in interceptions.
Second down. 7 yards to go. Garcia from the shotgun has time, delivers, and has his man, completing it up there to Vince Danielson, who has a first down up at the 41-yard line. Vince Danielson, the 5 receivers for this Calgary Stampeder offensive unit, the 5 receiver pack, and Danielson's number 5.
This is Danielson right here, just going to work down into the curl area in the zone defense. Edmonton Eskimos run a lot of zone on first down, then they'll run a little bit of man and blitz pressure on second. Danielson finds a hole in the zone.
Danielson checks out now on first down. 2 backs for Calgary. Garcia wants to run. Finds some room up across the 45 to the 47-yard line. Stopped there by Glenn Rogers, and Larry Ruck.
You know, Gordon, that's one thing a lot of people don't talk about when they talk about Jeff Garcia, is his ability to run the football. He's averaging right now 5.7 yards a carry. He has good, quick feet, can avoid the pass rush and buy himself some time. And there you see the totals. Jeff Garcia just behind a pretty good running quarterback in Doug Flutie.
Last week, Jeff Garcia was sacked 5 times by the Edmonton defense, more than he'd been sacked in the previous 9 games combined. And Garcia, under pressure, gets away from Pless, but is stopped short of the first down. Pless was able to hold him up. Derek McCready stopped him, and this Edmonton defense defense, so tough all season long, holds on Calgary's first possession.
Yeah, Gord, we just talked about the ability of Jeff Garcia to avoid the initial pass rush. Willie Bless is going to come on a delayed blitz. He's coming up and has Garcia dead to rights, but somehow Jeff Garcia eludes one of the best tacklers, well, the best tackler in Canadian Football League history, and buys a couple more yards.
Tony Martino on to punt now for the Calgary Stampeders. Shalon Baker back deep to receive. Controversy in Edmonton this week as Henry the Gizmo Williams spoke out about not playing for Edmonton. He is not dressed for a game this season for the Eskimos. Edmonton leads the league in punt return yards, and this is Baker from his 18. And Baker out across the 27-yard line is stopped there by Kevin Reid. The Edmonton offense is led by 31-year-old Danny McManus. Last week, he threw a key interception that was returned for a touchdown by Marvin Coleman, and that was a turning point in that football game. Joining him on this Edmonton offense, one major change among the receivers. Out this week is Nick Mazzoli. Eddie Brown moves to wide receiver, and Mark Tolbert gets the start at slot back, and a change on the offensive line. Rod Carnup is out. Leo Groenwagen is in. Carnup's consecutive game streak ends tonight at 188. On first down, McManus under pressure finds Eddie Brown. And Brown is out across the 50 to the 52-yard line as the Eskimos strike quickly on their first offensive play, a gain of 24.
Really important for the Edmonton Eskimos and the struggling offense to get started early against what is a very stingy Calgary defense. And Danny McManus throws a strike. Good timing, good ball. Hits Eddie Brown to the outside where the defender can't get to that football, and then Eddie Brown does the rest.
The Edmonton offense did not score an offensive touchdown on Monday against Calgary. Eddie Brown, the former Stampeder, with a big game to kick it off for Edmonton. Down to the ground, Eric Blunt flags her down. And Blunt is stopped at midfield as the tackle is made there by Marvin Pope. And Edmonton looks to be setting up that reverse as Eddie Brown took off behind the quarterback. But at any rate, offside will be the call against Calgary. The Stampeders, the least penalized team in the Canadian Football League.
Offside, Calgary, number 30, first down repeater.
Well, Ken Leonard was the guilty party coming on the halfback blitz, jumped the gun a little bit, and then got called on the offside. So Edmonton will accept that penalty and put them in a 1st and 5 situation.
And Lazarek is tonight's referee. First and 5. Eric Blunt is dropped immediately. Rodney Harding gets in, the 12-year veteran. Stop Blunt before he could get anywhere.
What a game Rodney Harding had against the Edmonton Eskimos on Labor Day. 3 sacks for the veteran. Hit Danny McManus 3 times, and he was pumped up for that game. Looks like he is again tonight for the rematch.
Calgary's defense toughest in the league against the run. And this Edmonton offense, which has been known for so many years for its ability to run the football, comes into this week as the 7th running attack in the league. McManus over the middle, almost picked off. The safety man, Greg Knox, slipped. The pass was overthrown, looking for Mark Tolbert.
Yeah, just a ball that Danny McManus let get away on him a little bit. Overthrew Mark Tolbert, who was open as he came across the middle. When he gets back there in that 5-step drop, he's going to stop. He plants properly, no slipping. A little bit of pressure, though, and that ball flies over Mark Tolbert's head. And
now we get our first look at Edmonton's punting unit. Glenn Harper comes on to punt. Of course, a key punt block by the Stampeders on Monday. And the returns by Terry Vaughn were a major story in the football game. Good kick by Harper. This is Coleman from the 7. And this time the Eskimos special teams do the job. He is dropped quickly. Davis Reed gets down to make the tackle. No score so far between the Eskimos and Stampeders. 5-time CFL All-Star Will Johnson is the injured player on the Calgary bench, injured on Calgary's first defensive series.
Will Johnson gets the pressure that's coming on Danny McManus. This is the ball that he overthrows on the play to Mark Tolbert. McClanahan's coming on the blitz, and in behind McManus, there's number 81, Will Johnson. Tough to see how he was injured, but they were tending to that hand.
First and 10 Stampeders from the 14-yard line. This is Anderson, wrapped up quickly by Willie Bless. Pless and Leroy Blue get in to make the stop. Blue, in his first start for Edmonton in 4 games, he was out with a pulled hamstring. He actually played Labor Day. That was his first time back. And now Pless making his first home, or Blue making his first home start, makes the tackle along with Willie Pless.
Yeah, and you know, with Blue and Willie Pless in the lineup, we talked about the Calgary defense being #1 in the league against the run. Well, guess which defense is #2?
No kidding, Edmonton. Edmonton or Calgary are #1 and 2 in 11 defensive categories. Garcia looking over the top for Travis Moore. He goes down. Malcolm Frank was there on the coverage. There's no flag, and receivers will often do that. They feel the pressure, and they'll try to go down, maybe draw the call.
Wow, good no call by the official there, because Malcolm Frank was in perfect position, really didn't have his hands on Travis Moore. A little bit of bumping that goes on every play, but a good no call. You see they're running together down the sideline. Good position on the inside by Malcolm Frank. Travis Moore just goes down his own, try to get the call, but he doesn't get it.
Big defensive stand by the Edmonton defense. Holding Calgary is 1 first down so far on 2 possessions. Tony Martino, who played for Edmonton briefly 6 years ago, is back to punt. Low tumbling kick from Martino. Baker from the Calgary 52. And Shalon Baker dives down to the 48-yard line. The Edmonton Eskimos will have great field position for their second possession.
Well, it's crucial for the Edmonton Eskimos to get Eric Blunt the football. There's his all-purpose yardage per game this year. It's dropped off a little bit from last season, but still very important and integral part of this Edmonton offense.
Last week, he was held to 41 yards on 8 carries against Calgary. First and 10 from the Calgary 49. A toss to Blunt. Tries the left side, gets around the corner, but Kenton Leonard's there along with Alondra Johnson to make the stop. Gain was 4.
Now, he talked about Eric Blunt, the importance of him rushing the football. You know, Calgary has so much more success when they are running and getting Eric Blunt involved in that running game. It opens up things for a drop-back passer like Danny McManus to have a good running game. He can run some play action. It buys him more time.
Only Robert Mims of Saskatchewan has more rushing yards this year than Eric Blunt.
And there you see it. 4 losses, they've averaged 42 yards rushing, and in the 6 wins for Edmonton, over 100. That's how important it is.
McManus looking over the top and almost intercepted and then almost caught by Mark Tober.
Well, I tell you what, McManus got away with one there. I had a conversation with safety Greg Knox before the game, and I quickly asked him, Greg, how many interceptions would you have had if you'd have caught all the ones you had a chance to catch? He said it'd be about 7 or 8. He only has 2 on the season, and he's had a couple of opportunities throughout this year, just like that one, where he's made the right read, been in the perfect position, and just let that ball slip through his hands.
Glenn Harper, a former Calgary Stampeder, and it's a good kick. Almost too good into the end zone, where Coleman will surrender a single point. So the Edmonton Eskimos are on the board first. They lead the Calgary Stampeders 1-0 on a 61-yard single. One nothing. The Edmonton Eskimos lead the Calgary Stampeders with 7:42 to play in the first quarter, and the Calgary offense goes back to work with Alan Pitts, the 3-time CFL All-Star, leading the way.
You know, I got my calculator out before the game, Gordon. I was going over some numbers on Alan Pitts. The rate he's going, in 2.5 years, he'll pass Ray Elgard in yardage.
43 100-yard games for Alan Pitts. That's a CFL record.
Alan Pitts would break Elgard's record in about half the time. From
the 35, Garcia gets it out for Anderson, but look at the play made quickly by Glenn Rogers, who seems to save his best games for the Calgary Stampeders.
Glenn Rogers is on a roll for the Edmonton Eskimos. He's had an interception in their last 3 games, including one last week in the Labor Day Classic. And you can tell if your team is ready to play by how they gang tackle on defense. And watch Glenn Rogers. He makes the initial contact on Kelvin Anderson, and then there's another green jersey, Malcolm Frank. Here comes Willie Fless. There's about 4 or 5 others on their way as well.
He was one of 4 Edmonton Eskimo defensive players named to the CFL All-Star team last year. Second down. Garcia gets it away. Incomplete. Looking there for Travis Moore. Well covered by Malcolm Frank. And the Edmonton defense getting some hits in on Jeff Garcia has allowed just 1 first down from Calgary so far.
Well, Gord, you mentioned it earlier in the game that Calgary had given up 11 sacks so far this season, 5 against Edmonton last week. And the reason why, guys like Benny Goods right there, number 40, and Derek McCready, what a year they're having for a front 4. Lead the league in sacks with 48.
And add Leroy Blue back in the mix, back after a month off, and it gets even better. Shalon Baker back to receive the punt from Tony Martino. The Eskimos thought there should be a flag, but there is not.
And the fans wanted the no yards call. That's what Shalon Baker was trying to do. Wait for that ball to slow down and draw one of the Calgary Stampeders into the 5-yard restraining area. See how close he is right here. The ball's going to bounce around. Now, the only reason he knows he doesn't have any yards here, but he wants to see if he can draw us.
But the ball was out of bounds.
The ball was out of bounds when he picked it up. Good call by the official.
Shalon Baker, the Rookie of the Year last year in the Canadian Football League when he recorded 1,156 yards receiving. McManus on first down. Up over the middle and has his man, Eric Blunt. Blunt stopped at the 46-yard line, a gain of 8.
We talked about the running game with Eric Blunt involved and how important that is to Danny McManus. This is as good as a running play for the Edmonton Eskimos. Blunt's right there, just going to circle out of the backfield and catch the little hitch pass coming underneath right there. That's just a short little dump pass. That's as good as a running play.
Second and short.
Got a report, Chris.
And Blunt again on the carry in through the defensive secondary and out to midfield. The pickup is 7 yards. It's an Edmonton first down.
Eric Blunt's on pace to have over 1,200 yards rushing. This is on an Edmonton offense that has struggled throughout the season and hasn't had a real successful year on the ground. We talked about it earlier. They're 7th in the league in running the football, even though they are. And Eric Blunt has been a little injured. Ron Lancaster's happy to see that he's going to get over 1,200 this year if he keeps it up.
Now McManus sets it up for Eddie Brown. And Brown close to another first down as he stopped at the 44-yard line. Eddie Brown playing wide receiver tonight. Leads the league in receiving yards. And is playing a position that doesn't see him get as many footballs as when he's inside.
Well, he prefers to be inside just because, like you said, Gord, he gets more balls in there. But, when he has moved outside and we looked into some stats, the last couple of years he's been out there a couple of times and had very productive days.
And the Edmonton offensive drug continues. Give goes to Blunt, and he has quickly dropped Steve Anderson in there to help make the tackle, along with Rodney Harding, for a Calgary defense that with Edmonton shares the lead in most defensive categories.
Absolutely, and Wally Bono wanted to have Marvin Pope and Anthony McClanahan into the lineup. He has that now. Pope moves up to the rush end. McClanahan is in the linebacking core. And in the secondary, Al Jordan and Marvin Coleman have 5 interceptions each. Greg Knox, Eddie Davis, and Kenton Leonard join them.
Calgary's 20 interceptions lead the league. Going over the top for Eddie Brown. Can't make the catch. A flag is down at the 28-yard line. Eddie Brown had it for a moment and couldn't hang on. Now we'll see what the penalty is.
Well, see what the penalty is. I don't think Al Jordan interfered with Eddie Brown down the sideline.
Illegal contact.
Well,
now, if it's incidental, it's a 10-yard penalty.
Well, Gordon, it must have happened at the line of scrimmage. It definitely didn't happen where the ball was down the football field.
Legal contact and an eligible receiver. Calgary, number 27. First down.
And it's a first down for the Edmonton Eskimos.
Well, here you go. You're going to see the one-on-one coverage. Eddie Brown with Al Jordan. There's the contact. That's where the penalty happened, because down the field, Al Jordan looked back to the football and did not interfere with Brown. But you can protect your ground as a defensive back, but as soon as you turn to the side and bump the receiver, it's a penalty.
First down, Edmonton. Draw play, Eric Blunt. Here goes Blunt.
Oh, man.
Eric Blunt, touchdown. Touchdown in 90 minutes of football.
What a perfect play and execution of a play. This running play by Eric Blunt. Second and long, they run the draw play, and Blunt executed perfectly some great moves to break in the open field and get that touchdown. Great acceleration by Eric Blunt.
Only the 7th rushing touchdown allowed by Calgary this year. And Eric Blunt has his 3rd major of the season. Sean Fleming for the point after to give Edmonton an 8-point lead. Fleming puts it through, and to the delight of this huge crowd in Edmonton, the Eskimos have an 8-0 lead.
We're through the hurricane. Let's go, baby. Stay up, man. Let's go. Go win the fucking ball game.
Straight hair, no fuss.
After playing 6 quarters without an offensive touchdown, the Edmonton Eskimos get one from Eric Blunt, and he got some help from his friend.
Wow, it was a perfectly executed play, Gord. I mean, right here, look at this block on Rodney Harding by Thomas Rayam. He was in Birmingham last year. He blocks initially on the line of scrimmage, pushes Harding right out of the play, and then downfield, Shalon Baker takes on Marvin Coleman right there. Another key block to execute and spring his running back in for 6 points.
Thomas Rayam from Orlando, Florida, had a great deal of interest in the news this week, as did Eric Blunt. Both men concerned about the hurricane that went through their area. And Eric Blunt, you heard a moment ago, saying hello to the people in North Carolina. He's from Aden, North Carolina, which was right in the path of the 2nd hurricane. The Edmonton Eskimos with an 8-0 lead. And Sean Fleming drives this deep. Marvin Coleman from 5 yards deep in the end zone. Here comes Coleman. Out across the 30 to 34-yard line. Glenn Rogers makes the stop. A 37-yard return by Coleman.
Boy, Marvin Coleman, 2nd in the league in kickoff returns. He averages 24.7. And when you're an offensive coordinator, you're so happy with that, because you're thinking, if my punt returner can give me 2 first downs and then some, when every time he touches the ball in a kickoff return, I'm a pretty happy guy.
The Edmonton Eskimos with the lead. When they led Calgary at the half on Monday, it was the first time Calgary had trailed the game at the half all year. Garcia, quick drop, but in behind the intended target, Travis Moore. Jeff Garcia looking not very sharp here, and he has played very well against Edmonton in his short career. 2-0 against the Eskimos, and in his debut as a starter, he scored through 6 touchdown passes against the Eskimos on Labor Day last year.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, Gord, on the Labor Day rematch last year, Garcia had his worst outing in 1995 with only 219 yards. You know, in that rematch, that Edmonton defense gets pretty fired up, and it can throw the timing of your quarterback off immensely.
From the shotgun on 2nd down, Garcia's under pressure, gets it away, and completes it to Terry Vaughn. Vaughn lunges across the 45 and has the Calgary first down. Only the 2nd first down of the game for the Stampeders.
Good job by Garcia to buy himself some time there, move outside to the pocket and find Terry Vaughn, who right now with the Calgary Stampeders and in the Canadian Football League has the longest reception, 104 yards, and we saw it in the game against Saskatchewan.
Comes up to finish him off after he was stacked up by the Edmonton Eskimo defensive line. The Edmonton Eskimos have dressed 8 defensive linemen for this game tonight.
Well, they like to do it because a lot of their defensive linemen like Jed Roberts and Mike Sellers and Errol Martin can all cover kicks and punts, so they get the fresh legs on the D-line, but they also get the special teams work from guys like Mike Sellers.
The gain was 1. And flags are down as the 20-second clock has expired, and an angry Jeff Garcia will be called for a time count violation.
Time count violation. Calgary, number 7.
And give an assist to the big crowd here in Edmonton. Little payback for what happened in Calgary on Monday, where the public address announcer actually incited the Calgary fans to make noise. The Eskimos very bitter about that, but the Edmonton fans are into it now.
Here they go.
On second down, Garcia, long throw for Terry Vaughn. Beats the first man, beats the second man, and Willie Pless finally tracks him down. And Terry Vaughn has a Calgary first down after a pickup of 20 yards.
Well, Terry Vaughn has been one of the nicest surprise for head coach Wally Bono. He averages 20.5 yards per catch, and a lot of the times it's not on the ball where he catches the football, it's what he does after he catches it. He makes people miss, and he'll fight for 5 inches, let alone 5 yards, and that time it took a couple of Edmonton Eskimos to get Vaughn on the ground.
5 Calgary receivers have 25 or more catches. On first down, Garcia delivers it to Vince Danielson. Danielson stopped at the Edmonton 44-yard line. A pickup of 5. And Jeff Garcia paid the price again.
Yeah, I was going to say Jeff Garcia took a hit, and this is a tribute to the toughness of a Jeff Garcia. Willie Pless is coming on the delayed blitz. Comes from the outside, and watch how he hits Garcia just as he throws that football. And I'll tell you what, it takes a lot of courage for a quarterback to stand in there knowing you got the Terminator bearing down on you.
A 3-time CFL Defensive Player of the Year, including the last 2 seasons. Garcia brings the ball down, gets it away, and completes it.
What a throw!
Travis Moore makes the catch and has a first down to the Edmonton 26-yard line, and Garcia got drilled again.
Oh, what a throw. Jeff Garcia, as he's dancing around trying to avoid the pass rush from the Edmonton Eskimos, threads the needle. Singor Mobley had a perfect opportunity. You see him working right here with Dave Sapunjas. Watch how close his ball goes right by him. He just misses it. Malcolm Frank also right on the spot. Great throw by Jeff Garcia.
It comes on the final play of the first quarter. The Edmonton Eskimos with an 8-0 lead over the Calgary Stampeders in the second half of the Alberta Grudge Match. Jeff Garcia is moving the Calgary offense, Glenn, but he's paying the price to do it.
He certainly is, and this time it's Mike Sellers doing the damage, number 94, one of the youngest players in the Canadian Football League. He's only 21 years old, and he just hammers Garcia. Here he is right here, and he comes in and puts the hit on the start on Jeff Garcia late. You know, he's an amateur boxer. He's 16-3 as a boxer, and watch this hit right, bang.
Oh.
He did it. He does the little rope-a-dope job right there on Jeff Garcia.
Let's get him, baby, come on!
Mike Sellers out of Walla Walla Junior College, not far from where Hugh Campbell went to school, and that's where they heard about him. First and 10 for the Stampeders from the 26. The give goes up to Kelvin Anderson, and he goes nowhere. Derek McCready got up to stop his forward progress, and McCready has been a huge factor in the game so far.
Derek McCready is working on big Fred Childress on the play and does a tremendous job to get in that backfield and snuff out that play. He's down at the bottom of your screen, and look at the swim move up and over the top, and Kelvin Anderson has no place to go.
And you think big Derek McCready's getting the hang of this Edmonton-Calgary thing in his first year with the Eskimos?
Doesn't take long.
Flags are down. Garcia finds over the middle for Dave Sapunjas, who makes his first catch of the game, maybe, depending if it's wiped out by penalty. He's down to the 25-yard line, 6 yards short of a first down, but Edmonton was offside. David Sapunjas has only 1 touchdown catch in his last 8 games.
Offside, Edmonton, number 79. Second down repeater.
So they accept the penalty to McCready. It'll bring up 2nd and 12.
McCready is right down at the bottom of the screen here, and he lines up. You can see his foot is well up over that line, and that's why he gets called on the offside.
Receiving touchdown of the year. And he was covered like a blanket.
Well, this is the scary thing about Alan Pitts and why he's been so effective throughout the season. He's 6'4", 210 pounds, and watch him accelerate at the end of the play and lay out. Alan Pitts has deceptive speed, and when that football is in the air, he goes and gets it.
29-yard touchdown for Alan Pitts, who had no touchdown catches in his last 2 games and only 2 in his last 7. He's got Calgary back in the football game. It's everything you'd want from Edmonton, Calgary, and then some. The Eskimos lead the Stampeders 8-7. Alan Pitts knows where the end zone is. He gives his team the lead with the touchdown. That is his 75th career score.
Well, on Labor Day, Glenn Rogers won the battle. Pitts was held to 1 catch for 27 yards last week. This week he wants to make amends, and he started out properly with that big touchdown reception. And what a catch as he lays out in the end zone.
Alan Pitts with a circus catch, and the official delayed for a moment, signaling touchdown because he caught the back half of the ball, but he was able to hang on for his 5th touchdown reception of the year. Mark McLaughlin kicks it off. This is Jerry Collins. Flags are down, and so is Collins, who is stopped at the 34-yard line. And now another flag comes down as Dwayne Ford made the tackle. Farrell Duclair, first-year player out of Concordia University, got into it there. And now you see Jed Roberts and Greg Knox pushing and shoving.
Think these guys are going to meet after the game and go hang out together?
No.
I don't think so.
You know what? Calgary's leaving right after the game.
Yeah.
And Wally Bono said, I want to get out of Edmonton as soon as I can. I hate it here. And we've got double penalties here against the Edmonton Eskimos, and Ron Lancaster won't much like that. He cut a player this week and was mentioning one of the reasons, too many penalties.
Yeah, you're talking about Grady Cavness. He had 6 penalties and was also part of the reason they had a punt blocked, and that's why he is unemployed right now. And Ron Lancaster just does not stand for those penalties, especially the ones that happen after the play, the discipline penalties.
Legal block, Edmonton, number 38. Major foul, unnecessary roughness, Edmonton, number 40. First down.
Benny Goods is called for the unnecessary roughness. Errol Martin is called for the illegal block, and we'll see what Benny Goods and Farrell Duclair were up to.
Yeah, you can see the play is over now. There's number 40, and they get the shoving match going, and hits Duclair right in the middle of the back. And that's the one that Ron Lancaster's not going to be happy with.
Well, it backs the Edmonton Eskimos up to their own 8-yard line. Now McManus looking to throw, gets it away, and has it complete out there for Mark Tobert. Tobert has a first down out to the 24-yard line.
Now, we talked about a little bit earlier about the effectiveness of Eric Blunt and this offense when he's running the football. And this time, you see Tobert, because of the play-action pass, Mark Tobert can work all the way across the field to the flat. Danny McManus has plenty of time, and Tobert can just keep on working to the open area in the zone and give his quarterback a target.
Mark Tobert with the catch at only 9 coming into this game. And here comes Eric Blunt. Around the corner goes Blunt out across the 35 for what should be another Edmonton first down.
Now, Eric Blunt throughout this season has had some ankle troubles. He hasn't even practiced all week with the Edmonton Eskimos, but I'll tell you what, it looks like his ankle is healthy and ready to go now because he is accelerating at the line of scrimmage and the point of attack. He looks like he did last year.
And as we will have a measurement right at the 35-yard line. Eric Blunt has had 175 touches coming into this game. He's had 142 carries and 33 receptions. That's the male. That's carrying the male.
Well, his running mate, Jerry Collins, has only had 6 carries throughout the season. He's the forgotten man. Eric Blunt's going to get the workload. Hey, when you got a guy as talented as Eric Blunt, Ron Lancaster knows, hey, why not give him the ball? This is not a very tricky game.
There's Jerry Collins, who spends most of his day blocking for Eric Blunt. It was a first down. Here comes Blunt again. And this time, tougher going, Rodney Harding comes in to make the stop, along with Marvin Pope, and Will Johnson back into the game after being injured earlier.
Well, you know, a lot of people have criticized this running game of the Edmonton Eskimos because Jerry Collins is in there, saying that they have 2 tailbacks in the backfield. See big Will Johnson taking a look at those tailbacks, the ones he has to get in this running game. But Collins has done a pretty good job. Ron Lancaster says he doesn't have the size, but everything we've asked him to do on the football field, he's done. He's very happy with his blocking ability.
Here comes the blitz. McManus gets it away deep. That's a man, Eddie Brown. And Eddie Brown was almost gone. Al Jordan saved a touchdown. But Brown gets down to the 31-yard line to pick up a 41 yards.
The last time Eddie Brown played wide receiver, Gordon, he had 100 yards. It was in 1993 and 3 touchdowns. And he's having a great game out at the wide receiver position again. He just keeps working. Goes out of bounds, comes back in. Now, if he is pushed out of bounds, he's allowed to come back in and make the catch. If he runs out on his own, he's not. There's the pressure by Anthony McClanahan on Danny McManus. He delivers a strike to his receiver down the sideline.
And that'll pad Eddie Brown's league-leading receiving numbers. He now has 859 yards receiving. On first down, Eric Blunt nowhere. There's Will Johnson saying, don't bring that in here. Big Will Johnson, the 5-time CFL All-Star who has 99 sacks coming into this game in his career.
Yeah, they were looking at that left hand of Will Johnson, but doesn't seem to be affecting his ability to tackle the running backs. I mean, he is in the backfield, grabs on Eric Blunt, has no shot.
He's 9 inches taller and 70 pounds heavier than the man who was trying to block him, Jerry Collins. You can see the bandage on the right hand. Second down and 12. Here comes the blitz again. McManus gets it away. Has Colbert for a moment, but he can't make the catch. It'll fall incomplete. We'll see Sean Fleming in the field goal unit.
Boy, I tell you what, Gordon, you know, Danny McManus has taken a lot of criticism here in Edmonton for throwing his interceptions. He's played pretty well tonight, and you got to give him credit for this play right here. I mean, he had tremendous pressure. There's blitz coming right here from Anthony McClanahan. He's coming on the blitz. Marvin Pope's in there. Daryl Hall's in there. McManus still can deliver the football.
Sean Fleming is out in the field as Danny McManus and the offense give way. Fleming has not missed a field goal try for Edmonton this year. 10 for 10. And 5 for 5 outside the 40. This try from the 41. Fleming missed it to the left. His first miss of the year. Edmonton gets the single point and a 9-7 lead. The Edmonton Eskimos with a 2-point lead. You're watching the CFL Live on TSN. Sean Fleming is now 10 for 11 on the season after missing his first try this season with the Eskimos. He was 10 for 10 perfect until this.
Well, the hold looked good. Glenn Harper, the punter, is the holder, and that looked good. And Sean Fleming knows it's his fault, just pulled it to the left. I mean, he has to figure he wasn't going to go 100% on the season.
Jeff Garcia has made his last 5 passes. Until then, I got to stop saying that stuff. I got to stop saying that.
You're jinxing him.
I have never won the lottery. We'll see if it works.
Well, I tell you what. Singor Mobley's right up here on the top of the line. He's coming on the blitz. Let's just take a look at the pressure that Jeff Garcia has to handle as he's throwing that football. Mobley's taking him to the ground, and that takes all the strength and action off that ball.
Singer Mobley in his second year out of Washington State. He and Anthony McClanahan know each other well. Both former Cougars. Second down. Here comes the rush. Garcia under pressure. Almost had it picked off the other way by Darian Hagan. That ball landed right at Hagan's feet. But all Jeff Garcia could see was that wall of green.
Well, Leroy Blue and Benny Goods were providing the pressure, but Jeff Garcia almost committed a costly error because he was just trying to dump that football. Here comes Benny Goods and Leroy Blue on the stunt. They come from the outside. Blue takes that outside pass rush lane, and Garcia's just trying to throw it away. But Darian Hagan all day picked it up.
Now Martino to punt. 11 men up for the Eskimos. Shalon Baker back deep to receive. Here comes the rush. Martino gets a good kick away. Bounces to Baker at the 34-yard line. And Baker out across the 40 to the 42. Wayne Drinkwalter, the long snapper, hustled down to make the stop. 8:48 to go in the second quarter. A 2-point Edmonton lead. For many years, teams from Calgary were frustrated when they came to Edmonton, be it hockey or football, and Wally Buono knows that feeling. Former Calgary Flames coach, the late Bob Johnson, called it climbing the mountain against Edmonton. In the 70s, Calgary won just 7 of the meetings against the Eskimos. In the 80s, they were 6-19. In the 90s, they're 9-9. They've won 4 of the last 5 regular season meetings. At one point in the early 80s, the Edmonton Eskimos won 18 of the 19 regular season games between these two teams.
The Matt Dunnigan, David Allen days here in Edmonton.
McManus up to throw quickly. That pass is knocked down at the line, intended for Eric Blunt. Stu Laird of the Stampeders was telling me today that he played 5 years in the Canadian Football League before the Stamps beat Edmonton.
I know the feeling. You know what, we look at this Commonwealth Stadium, and I love doing a football game here now with the natural grass, a beautiful stadium. Boy, as a player, you just hated to come over. You like playing on grass, but you always seem to go home with the loss.
The fire engine?
The fire. Don't bring it up. I have nightmares of the fire engine doing laps at Commonwealth Stadium.
Second down. Here comes the rush. McManus gets it away and finds Darren Flutie. And Flutie has a first down across midfield to the Calgary 54-yard line, his first catch of the night.
Yeah, McManus is throwing some strikes right now. He finds Darren Flutie on the outside, but McManus has had a lot of pressure on him. You see Marvin Pope, he lines up as a defensive end, but then drops. You know, he's played linebacker, but now he's used to rushing the passer. Not as many reps dropping and covering receivers, and just couldn't get up to the flat in time.
Here comes Blunt. Eric Blunt tries the right side. Al Jordan knocked him down. The ball came out right in front of the Stampeder bench. But they'll rule Blunt down and give him a gain of 5.
Well, I don't know. We have the luxury of the replay up here, and it looks like that ball hits the turf. I mean, you see the tackle right there by Eddie Davis.
Out comes the ball.
The ball is sitting there right inbounds, and McClanahan is grabbing onto it.
Flags are down. Early movement. Ball is tipped up in the air, and you know what? Jerry Collins almost made that catch on the deflection. But it looked like Calgary moved early.
Yeah, I think it was Marvin Pope from his rush end position at the top, the far side of the field, that jumped offside.
Big Daddy wants to get some sacks. He's only got 1 since he came back.
Offside, Calgary, number 91, first down Edmonton.
Big Daddy was offside.
Yeah, he wants to get back in that sack race. I mean, Rodney Harding's got 8, Will Johnson has 7. He wants to be up there with the leaders. Of course, he gets more chances to do that at the rush end position. Well, Iwano just reminding him, hey, I know you want sacks, but just wait till they snap the ball.
Here comes Eric Blunt. And Blunt again tries the right side. You might have seen in the background an Edmonton receiver come in behind as they gave the ball off to Blunt. They're setting them up for that reverse, I think.
Well, Darren Flutie and Eddie Brown have both come in behind. Here's a look at the point of attack with big Chris Morris working on Marvin Pope, and that time does a nice job of going upfield a step and then coming back underneath to stop that running play.
Game was won. McManus for Shalon Baker, can't make the catch. Covered by Marvin Coleman, and Shalon Baker couldn't hang on for what would have been an Edmonton first down.
Well, I tell you, Marvin Coleman is just like the big play guy. We talked about it last week. He had the big interception, 78-yard touchdown, which really broke Edmonton's back. And on second down and long to go, Shalon Baker has a chance to catch it, but Marvin Coleman comes up with the strip. Another big play.
And now
17.
Coleman will go back to return the punt for the Stampeders. He has 3 interception returns for touchdowns and 2 punt returns for touchdowns in his career. Ryan Harper to punt. Angling for the sidelines. Another good kick into the end zone. Well, gradually the Edmonton Eskimos are getting that field goal. Now a 3-point lead as they take a 10-7 advantage, but is Harper happy with that or not?
No, I would say not. I mean, right there now, they're back on the 35-yard line. They really didn't get a whole lot of yardage out of that kick. It was a nice big long kick by Harper, but you know he'd like to have it back, even give up 10 yards, but pin Calgary deep in their own end.
Oh, we have a moment. Let's go down to Ken Schillebeck, who's standing by with an Ironman whose streak has ended.
Thank you very much, Rod Conniff. Rod, you have played 250 career games. Now you're sitting out. What's the status of your injury right now?
I expect to be back next week. I sprained my knee, and this is something new for me. I've been fairly fortunate over the last 15 years, but it was bound to happen.
How many games have you missed?
Well, this is the first one. Over the career, you mean?
Yeah, that's right.
Five.
5 games
yeah,
over.
Today's 5.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's tough. Tough watching on the sidelines?
It's the first time I've ever watched a game in this stadium. I missed a couple games 2 years ago, but I was in the hospital with pneumonia. And other than the 84 Grey Cup, this is the first time I've ever watched a football game here.
Hope you're back soon, Rod. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Guys?
Thanks very much. Tough for Rod Conniff to watch, and they miss him. Second and 8, Garcia. For Sapungis in behind him, and Dave Sapungis got whacked at the end of that play. I think Trent Brown, the safety, was there to deliver the blow.
Yeah, Trent Brown was poaching. That's what we used to call it in Saskatchewan, where the safety plays low, down in that linebacker level. You see Trent Brown's going to come up right there and put the hit on Dave Sapungis and doesn't allow him to reach back for that football.
And the crowd giving a nice ovation to the Edmonton defense as it makes its way off the field. By the way, just a thought on Rod Conniff tonight. His 188 consecutive game playing streak comes to an end, 11th longest in CFL history.
It's amazing. Especially in the position that he plays. That whole line.
Martino with a good kick to Shalon Baker at the 35. And Baker around the corner goes out of bounds at the 42, a 7-yard return. How long was your streak?
I was 194 games, but I didn't hit on every single play like the offensive line did. You know, Rod Conniff in his 250th game got hurt, and I know another guy who played 250 and got hurt in his 250th. That was big
Roger Aldag. He was only your teammate for like 11 years. How can you forget Roger Aldag's name? You know,
my good buddy, Mr. What is his name again?
Rod Conniff is the only member of the Edmonton Eskimo team who played in the 1982 Grey Cup, part of the 5-in-a-row Grey Cup team. Danny McManus over the middle for Mark Tobin. Tobin with the catch down to the Calgary 49-yard line. So Rod Conniff came up just 6 games shy of your consecutive games record. Wait till I tell Roger Aldag. Wait till I tell Aldag that you forgot his name.
I didn't forget his name. I got it written right here.
You have to write it down.
I drew a blank.
You have to write down the name of a guy who sat in the dressing room with you.
I wrote it down so I'd make the point.
Glenn, you flew with him. You played with him. You were in the same dressing room. You practiced.
Okay, enough.
First down. McManus looking over the top for Eddie Brown, and Brown had to play DB there as the best play was made by Al Jordan. Oh man, I cannot believe. I mean,
No, okay.
no, come on.
Well,
There's no excuse.
you know, have you ever just like been in the middle of a conversation, just drawn a blank, just like that, just at the wrong time?
Yeah, but
I mean, where you just, you're thinking, you got.
Don't hide behind that post. Roger Aldag. That's the guy right there.
I'm sorry.
Unbelievable. There's Sim Simone, by the way. Hey, stats man. And a long-time friend of mine. Good to come back to Edmonton and get my pal some work. Second down. Screen pass for Jerry Collins. Collins, first down. And then some. Inside the 30 to the 29-yard line. The draw play resulted in a touchdown earlier. Now the screen pass gets a gain of 20.
Yeah, and you know what I like about it is a screen pass to a guy that the Calgary defense doesn't expect will get the football. Jerry Collins is the forgotten man in this Edmonton offense, but on this play, it's his turn. He gets the screen pass, and it's perfectly executed. Calgary didn't expect it.
First down, Edmonton. McManus over the top, Eddie Brown. Incomplete. And with him, step for step, was defensive back Eddie Davis.
It really was great coverage by Eddie Davis. He has a couple interceptions so far in the season for Calgary. Spent 1995 in Birmingham. Calgary very happy to have him in the lineup. Good man-to-man cover guy, good speed, and he showed his speed there. Eddie Brown, one of the fastest receivers in the league, and Eddie Davis was step for step.
Calgary has had, in the 90s, great cover guys. You think about Junior Thurman, Marvin Coleman, now Al Jordan. They've always had good cover guys. Ken Leonard can cover anybody.
And what it does is it allows you to blitz a lot because you know you guys can cover behind you.
Second down, McManus guns it. Has Darren Flutie, who dives ahead for a first down. Flutie dives down to the 18-yard line. Should be good for an Edmonton first down. We've reached the 3-minute warning at Commonwealth Stadium. The Eskimos have the lead 10-7 over the Calgary Stampeders. Welcome back to Commonwealth Stadium. The green and gold with a 10-7 lead over the Calgary Stampeders. And the Eskimos with the ball at the Calgary 13-yard line. The question is, can this team get the ball in the end zone? You see Danny McManus' numbers. He began in Winnipeg and then went to BC. And remember, he was the Grey Cup MVP for the Grey Cup champion Lions in 1994.
You know, Danny McManus last season attempted more passes than he did in the previous 3 years. So, I mean, everyone's criticizing Danny McManus and his interception ratio, but you know, he hasn't been the starting quarterback his whole career, and he's just getting used to throwing that many passes in a season.
On first down, the toss goes to Eric Blood. Blood gets hung out outside and then gets hammered on the way out by Anthony McClanahan. Forced out of bounds at the 20, a loss of a couple.
But Ron Lancaster knows if you can't hit your running play at the point of attack, in other words, hit at full speed as you're hitting the line of scrimmage, like Eric Blunt has done a lot tonight, you're not going to have any success. This Calgary defense is just too quick pursuing to the football, and if Eric Blunt gets strung out like he did on that play, there's no shot. The pursuit will get him.
So the Eskimos now 2nd and 12 from the 20 under 3 minutes to play in the first half. Calgary's defense hanging tough. McManus scrambling dropped. And that is career sack number 100 for Will Johnson. And Dan McManus is still down.
A couple of years back, Will Johnson led the league in sacks with 17. Danny McManus hurting after Will Johnson tattooed him on this play. McManus does a pretty good job to buy a little bit of extra time, but Will Johnson just too tenacious in his pass rush as he comes over and levels the Edmonton quarterback.
Will Johnson was with the Chicago Bears, was released and went back to Dallas to be a police officer. He made $23,000 a year, and on his first day, got his nose broken. Said, the heck with this, I'm going back to play football.
I want to go and break some quarterbacks' noses.
Sean Fleming now, from the 33. Fleming puts it through, and the Edmonton Eskimos now have a 13-7 lead. Eerily similar to the Monday Labor Day game when it was 10-7 at the half.
Well, I believe so, and Edmonton Eskimo team is thinking, well, we just don't want the outcome to be the same.
As we said last week, when Edmonton led Calgary at the half, it was the first time this year the Stamps didn't have the lead at the half. They have not yet trailed this year after 3/4 of a football game. And now Danny McManus is talking it over with the Edmonton medical staff, including Dr. Peter Boucher, Dick Cherry, and Ian Hallward.
Sorry, Gord. Here's another look at the injury. Will Johnson coming in on the sack. Take a look at McManus's feet right down underneath. He gets rolled a little bit.
I think his own teammate, Ed Cousy, got caught up in him.
Ed Cousy and Rodney Harding coming over top of the pile. That may be how he twisted that ankle. He'll get a little duct tape down there for Danny McManus. Wrap it up a little tighter. I'm sure he'll be back.
And Will Johnson has 100 career sacks.
That's amazing.
5 straight selections to the CFL All-Star team for Will Johnson.
And his current pace, if he plays a couple more years, he'll be in the top 5 all-time as well.
Kickoff is taken deep by Marvin Coleman. Beats the first wave. Here comes Coleman. Out across the 40 and finding Gang tackled at the 43-yard line. A 63-yard kickoff, a return of 31, and Dave Sapunjas comes back on the field. And Sapunjas didn't make the big catch last week. He made the big block last week. Blocked the punt late in the first half.
That's one thing you got to admire about Dave Sapunjas. You know, that's how you break into the league, in the Canadian Football League. You play special teams, but of course Dave Sapunjas, over the last 4 or 5 years, has made his name for his pass-catching ability. When you come and make the big play on special teams, you know you're giving it all. You're getting it all from a good player like that.
He'll be 29 tomorrow. First down for the Stampeders from the 43. Garcia over the middle for Danielson. Can't make the catch. Double covered by Singor Mobley and Trent Brown.
I mean, that would be one heck of a catch by Danielson to come over top. Singor Mobley was in a trail technique. What that means is that you let the receiver sort of run by you, then you get in his hips slightly behind him. When he turns to the middle of the field, you're going to see it just to the left of your screen. He's going to come into the picture right there. See, Singor Mobley is underneath, so Vincent Danielson had to get up over top of him to try and come up with that catch. He couldn't do it.
And this is ruled a catch over the Eskimos' objections right at the Calgary 54-yard line. It'll be a Stampeder first down.
Key to the play was set up from the ability of Jeff Garcia to bust outside the pocket and get into that open area, so he had a passing lane to throw the football.
Flag was down. Singor Mobley was offside. It is declined, naturally. On the Edmonton sideline, Danny McManus gingerly gets in the cart with...
Well, that's unbelievable. I mean,
that's Dave McGee, who is the physical therapist for both Edmonton and the Eskimos and the Oilers. And there goes Danny McManus in the dressing room. Here comes Jeff Garcia. Garcia tucks it down, puts his head down, up and over, and gets to the 44-yard line, a pickup of 11 in Calgary. First down for Jeff Garcia. Let's go to Ken Chillibeck.
Okay, thank you very much, Gord. A left knee, that's what the doctors were looking at. Danny McManus, he looked like in a lot of pain. And as you can see, they just took him to the dressing room. Doesn't look good for the Eskimos. Cody Ledbetter, his rookie season in the CFL, is going to have to take over. And right now, he has very little experience. And you really have to wonder what kind of offense they can muster. It's tough news for the Eskimos right now. Guys.
Cody Ledbetter has just 10 attempts this year. He's completed 2 of them.
It didn't look that serious, but obviously it is.
Now Garcia kind of sidearmed it down there. He was looking for Travis Moore, but his ball's incomplete. Now the Stampeders looking at a possible field goal. And think about the Labor Day game when they had the ball deep in Edmonton territory after the blocked punt, but got only the field goal instead of the touchdown when they scrimmaged the ball at the 2.
It looked like at that point in the football game it was going to be a real key turning point. Calgary had just blocked the punt. Wally Bono thought he'd get 7 points out of it. Didn't. Only got 3. Of course, he ended up winning that football game, so it didn't matter for them, but...
Garcia's last 5 passes have fallen incomplete. We'll see if my streak busting continues. Looking over the top, Alan Pitts can't make the catch this time. Covered by Darian Hagan. Al Pitts turned into the circus catch earlier for the touchdown, but couldn't hang on this time.
Well, I'm a little surprised that they haven't gone to this kind of matchup. I mean, Calgary hasn't earlier, and you see big Bruce Covington down on the field. But here comes the pressure on Danny McManus. Right up the middle is big Larry Ruck coming from his linebacker position. Jeff Garcia, goes down as he throws the football. Big tuna. Bruce Covington is down on the field right now.
Yeah, Bruce Covington is injured, and it has been an injury-plagued last couple of years for the big man, who was a CFL All-Star in '93. Of course, he tore up his shoulder last year, missed the entire year, and he's had trouble with injuries this season. Pat Clayton, the veteran athletic therapist for the Calgary Stampeders, checking him out. You got a finger in the eye, maybe?
He's right in here to the right of your screen. Let's take a look and see. It looks like, yeah, Benny Goods had his hand right in the face mask. So Bruce Covington got a finger in the eye.
Yikes. That ever happened to you?
No, I didn't play down there in the trenches.
Oh, you know what? I forgot. You wore all that equipment. Glenn Suter had like the face mask with all the bars, the towel, the wrist thingy, the nose thingy, the neck thingy, the elbow pad.
Well, you know, as my career went on, I needed another piece of equipment every year just to hold me together.
You know what? You know what happened when you retired? Norm Fong, Calgary's equipment manager, outfitted an entire junior football team with your leftover stuff.
Looks like Tuna will be back, and that's good news.
Yeah, they need him. He used to organize Fat Man's football for the Stampeders offensive line. They used to play a touch football game the day before games. Tuna says they don't do it anymore. So I'm 30 years old, man. I'm getting hurt too much doing that.
Well, I tell you what, it's a lot of guts to call him Fat Man Football. I guess that's the name of the team, so we'll just, you're okay.
Here comes Mark McLaughlin from the 52-yard line, and this may be a try from the 47-yard line as there was early movement. Mark McLaughlin has missed 2 of the 3 attempts he's had this year from outside the 50, and Edmonton jumps offside. Ron Lancaster will absolutely hate that.
Offside, Edmonton, number 40, still third down.
Benny Goods jumps.
Still third down, so Lancaster will still see Calgary kick the field goal, but it's just a shorter field goal now for Mark McLaughlin.
McLaughlin, this season, 26 of 27 inside the 40. He's got 2 misses outside the 40 this year.
I was just going to say 2 of his 4 misses were from outside 52 yards, and the other one was one of the ones I jinxed him in BC. I talked to him about the great season he was having, and he went out and missed his first kick. So that was my fault.
Kevin Reed is the holder from the 47. McLaughlin missed it to the right, and Eddie Brown is going to bring it out. A clip. Brown gets down to the 2-yard line, and he'll actually have to back up to the 1. There was a clear clip, and now at the 45-yard line, we got some pushing and shoving as Mark McLaughlin, the kicker, got hit by Cavis Reed. Wow. Edmonton, Calgary, huh? You gotta love it.
Well, you know, I mean, the thought I think for Ron Lancaster was, with this much time left in the half, don't give up the single point. You see, here comes the kick. Hold looks good. He just kicks it wide to the right.
Ooh.
Now there's a battle with Cavis Reed, and
look at Mark McLaughlin going at it. Look at Mark McLaughlin. He beat Cavis Reed.
He's got the pin. The forearm to the chin move.
Mark McLaughlin's big. He's 6 foot, 201 pounds.
Number 39. First down.
Well, Willie Pless with the clip. So Cody Ledbetter is backed up to the 1 as he takes over from Danny McManus. Cody Ledbetter's first play as a professional quarterback in the CFL, fumble.
And the second play, he got hit. One of the hardest hits I've seen all year by Lugo Zizakovic against Ottawa. I couldn't believe he got up with it.
Here's Eric Blood. Better get out of the end zone. Just does.
Well, I was going to say, going back to that thought, Ron Lancaster wanted to run that one out and not give up the single, but with still 47 seconds left in the clock, Calgary can hold Edmonton right now to punt the football. They're going to get another chance at a field goal. Eric Blunt barely gets out and almost gives up the safety there.
And checking into the game for the Edmonton Eskimos, along with Cody Ledbetter, is Don Blair, number 20. will see his first action now. Blair signed this week out of the University of Calgary. Ledbetter's going to throw from the end zone. He's in trouble. And Ledbetter just throws that away about 10 yards over the head of Eddie Brown. And Ledbetter was running for his life from Will Johnson, who wanted career sack number 101.
Well, Ledbetter did a good job just to get rid of that football. It would have been a safety, 2 points. Now, as it is, Edmonton's going to have to punt out a deep out of their own end zone.
This is just like the Labor Day game.
Calgary has lots of time to put some points on the board before the half.
The block kick was the big play last week, and we may see it again here. Dave Sapunjas blocked the punt last week, and the guy who didn't block him was cut.
And he's in the same position he was when he blocked that one in in Calgary.
10 men up, 2 back for Calgary. 21 seconds to play in the first half.
Got the return on.
Harper sends it down to Terry Vaughn. Here comes Terry Vaughn. Still going. Vaughn inside the 20. Terry Vaughn stopped at the 3. Seymour Mobley saved a touchdown along with Errol Martin. A 35-yard return of a 38-yard punt. Last week, after the blocks, Calgary got the ball first down at the Edmonton 2. This time they've got it at the 4.
I'm starting to feel like seen that, done that, got the t-shirt. I mean, look at this. It's a little bit different than it's not a block, but here comes the return, and Seymour Mobley saves a touchdown. But here's Calgary just before the half with the same type of opportunity. Now, last week, Edmonton stopped him. See what happens now.
Interesting that Edmonton's punt unit has been the big problem in the last 2 games. First and goal, just inside the 4. Garcia, down the goal line, incomplete, looking for Vince Danielson. Darian Hagan helped break it up along with Seymour Mobley. There'll be time for one more play. Now what do? Kick the field goal? And I think Wally Wano's going to kick the field goal.
Yeah, Wally's sending on the field goal unit right now. He's going to make sure he gets some points out of it. It's a long 2 yards, and I'll tell you what, that Edmonton defense rises to the occasion when they have their back against the wall. When they have Willie Pless, Seymour Mobley, and Larry Ruck back there, they're great at stopping that run. 2 yards is a long way to go, so McLaughlin will kick it.
Chip shot from the 10. This to pull Calgary within 3. And McLaughlin puts it through. Mark McLaughlin puts the field goal through on the final play of the first half, and it is so much like the Labor Day game, it's scary. And it's carrying over to this week as Cavis Reed and Mark McLaughlin talk it over. And now both teams will talk it over in the dressing room. The Edmonton Eskimos lead it at the half for the second straight game. The second half still to come. Thanks very much, Vic, and welcome to Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton, where this game is very similar to the game these 2 teams played on Monday. That was a 3-point game at the half with Edmonton leading. So is this one. That was a great defensive battle in the first half. So was this one, Glenn.
It was a great defensive battle. Both defenses providing tremendous pressure on both quarterbacks. Danny McManus right now is on the sideline with an injured knee, and what, in my opinion, was his best half of football for the Edmonton Eskimos. He now has to watch from the sideline. Doesn't look like he'll be back, so Cody Ledbetter will play the second half for Edmonton.
Young Cody Ledbetter, 23 years old, has tried one pass in this football game. It fell incomplete. The Calgary Stampeders have only trailed twice at the half in games this year. This game and the Labor Day game on Monday. And the second half kickoff taken by Darian Hagan, who gets out across the 35 to the 38-yard line. Let's recap the scoring for you. Edmonton started in the first quarter on a 25-yard draw play from Eric Blunt.
Perfectly executed draw play. Edmonton's doing a nice job in this first half of mixing up the pass and the run. Eric Blunt has been the one carrying the mail. And then Alan Pitts in the second quarter answers the bell when he comes up with this great leaping catch in the end zone, working on Glenn Rogers for the Calgary Stampeders.
5th touchdown of the year for Alan Pitts. Edmonton leads by 3. Here's Cody Ledbetter. Up over the middle, completes it to Eric Blood. And Blood dives ahead to the 43-yard line for a pickup of 6. Cody Ledbetter's first play from scrimmage as a pro quarterback, he fumbled the football. That was 4 weeks ago. This is what Danny McManus looked like when he left the field in the first half after injuring his left knee.
Yeah, bad luck for McManus and Edmonton's offense because Danny McManus was having a great half. I mean, he threw more strikes in that first half than the Blue Jays did tonight. This guy was on fire. Unfortunately, he's going to have to watch it from the sideline.
Now on second down, they give it off to Blunt on the drop play, and he is smacked immediately by Marvin Pope. Big Daddy comes up and makes the stop, and there's another injured player down on the field. And it's Steve Anderson, I believe. Will Johnson was injured also in the first half of the football game, but was able to come back and record his 100th career sack. And so Steve Anderson is down, and he is part of this Calgary defense that had sacked the quarterback 39 times coming into this game, second to Edmonton among the top sack teams in the Canadian Football League. Calgary and Edmonton have the outstanding defenses. They are 1-2 in 11 of 19 defensive categories. The Stampeders lead the league with 20 interceptions. And of course, it was an interception return for a touchdown on Monday by Marvin Coleman that made the difference. And here's now another injured player. This is Mike Sellers. You can see that Mike Sellers is in obvious pain. Look at Sellers. That's trainer Ian Hall. We're seeing him off the field.
Wow, that does not look good. I mean, Sellers is in pain on that sideline. And of course, Steve Anderson just barely getting off the field for Calgary. I tell you what, when these two teams meet, it is a battle. That's what they talked about last week in the Labor Day Classic. It was one of the most physical games that these two teams have participated in all season. And it's no different here tonight at Commonwealth. There's a battle going on out there right now.
And there have been some other injuries to talk about before this game. The Edmonton Eskimos had to juggle their offensive line. And the Eskimos had to put Leo Groenwagen at center when Rod Conop was injured. And Conop sees his consecutive game streak end at 188. Glenn Harper to punt. Taken by Marvin Coleman, trying to find the outside. It's a foot race to the corner. Here comes Coleman. Out across the 40 and finally dropped at the 44-yard line. Marvin Coleman ran a long way. They got 8 yards on the return, and we'll see Jeff Garcia and the Calgary offense go to work for the first time in the second half. Jeff Garcia is 17-2 as Calgary's starting quarterback.
You see the amount of field that Marvin Coleman had to cover on this punt return. 8-yard gain, and he went about 60 yards. But he can do that because he's a defensive back. Calgary's offense on the field now. He's got a couple plays to go over there and rest.
From their 44. Here come the Stampeders. Garcia from the shotgun. The rush is on. Garcia gets it away and complete to Dave Sapunjas, who slides out of bounds at the 50-yard line. Jeff Garcia made his debut as Calgary's starter pretty much on Labor Day last year. Doug Flutie took the first snap, but Garcia played the rest of the way and torched the Edmonton defense for 6 touchdown passes. That accounted for a third of the touchdown passes that Edmonton's defense surrendered last year.
And Garcia came here in the next game in the rematch last year and had his worst outing of 1995. And you know, Wally Bono, hope that doesn't repeat this year.
Sapunjas got 6. Garcia for Vince Danielson can't hang on. Darian Hagan was all over him, but the pass ball is incomplete, and Calgary will have to punt.
Well, in a tight game like this, you know, Vince Danielson would like to have that one back because in a second and short situation, got to come up, keep that drive going. Good throw by Jeff Garcia. Hits Danielson coming underneath. Darian Hagan can't get there in time, but Danielson just drops the football.
At one point in the 1980s, the Edmonton Eskimos won 18 of the 19 regular season meetings, but Calgary has now won 3 straight against Edmonton in the regular season and 4 of the last 5. Shalon Baker is back deep to receive the kick from Tony Martino. Baker takes over from Henry the Gizmo Williams this year. The Gizmo has not played it down for Edmonton and said in the paper yesterday that if he can't play here, he might like to try his luck somewhere else. Martino, high kick to Baker from his 17. Shalon Baker turns the corner and gets out to the 30-yard line. He is tripped up there by Alondra Johnson. The Edmonton Eskimos with a 13-10 lead. You're watching the CFL Live on TSN. Here are the numbers from the first half of play here, and you can see not much to choose between these two football teams. No turnovers in the first half, and you get the sense that the first one of this game will play a major role in the outcome. Here comes Cody Ledbetter on first down. Slings it out there, incomplete, looking for Darren Flutie, and he bowls over a young lady taking pictures on the sidelines. Appears to be all right, I think.
I tell you what, this Labor Day rematch is a physical game for everybody.
Hope she got the shot.
That'd be quite a picture. See Ledbetter getting some pressure late from Pope, and here comes the hit.
Ball at the 30 of the Eskimos.
That 1-2 and snap and boom.
Camera equipment goes down, and so does she.
Second and 10 for Ledbetter. The rush is on. Ledbetter fires it deep for Eddie Brown. Intercepted, picked off by Al Jordan. And Jordan down to the Calgary 51-yard line, the first turnover of the game. It's Calgary's league-leading 21st interception, and Al Jordan now has 6 picks on the year to tie Kavis Reed of Edmonton for the league lead.
Well, it's amazing. Tonight in this game, 4 of the 5 top defensive backs in the league are playing tonight. Al Jordan's one of them. 6th interception, does a nice job of staying on the inside position of Eddie Brown. Cody Ledbetter had some pressure on him, so he had to throw that ball real high, put a lot of air under it. That allowed Al Jordan to run under it.
Stamps have the ball at their own 51. Garcia sets up the screen for Kelvin Anderson. Anderson stumbled on the turf, but that slowed him up just enough. Larry Ruck able to get there and make the stop, along with Trent Brown. Kelvin Anderson last week was held at 21 yards, but 11 carries. In the first half, had just 2 yards for the Calgary Stampeders.
Well, you know, he's only had a 100-yard rushing game for the Calgary Stampeders, but he's averaging about 5 yards a carry. This Calgary offense, as potent as it is when you throw the football, you can get 5 yards out of your running back, you're happy.
Second down. Garcia under pressure. Gets away, got a ways to go, puts his head down and gets the first down. Malcolm Frank makes a stop, but Jeff Garcia running like a running back.
You cannot not like this guy. I mean, Jeff Garcia takes off. He has great quick feet. Good ability to be able to avoid that initial pass rush. Here comes Leroy Blue on the stunt. He gets away from Blue with some good speed to the outside. Pless can't get to him, and then you gotta love it at the end of the play. I tell you what, if you're a defensive back in the cover, Jeff Garcia, or come up and tackle him rather, you better bring it all, because Jeff Garcia will lower his shoulders and put it into you.
He came up about 3 lengths on the change short. It'll be 3rd and short for Jeff Garcia, who has never lost to the Edmonton Eskimos in the regular season. He is 2-0 as a starter against the Eskimos.
I mean, it's not like he's a real big quarterback, and he's 6'1", 185 pounds. But I'll tell you what, he delivers a blow when he runs football.
He was sacked 5 times by the Edmonton defense last week. That was more than he'd been sacked in the previous 9 games combined.
Oh, there you go. I mean, he wants to dish it out a little bit. He got sacked a couple times by this Edmonton defense. Now he wants to be the hammer.
Now 3rd and inches for the Stampeders. Garcia dives ahead for the easy first down. The Edmonton Eskimos have their biggest crowd of the year here tonight. It's the second half of the Labor Day week doubleheader, and the Eskimos welcome the kids back to school with a special promotion. And this game always attracts their largest crowd of the season, and of course is a big part of the grudge match between Edmonton and Calgary. Ken Chillibick is with us. Let's go down to the sidelines.
Thank you very much, Gord. Things going from bad to worse. McManus right behind me. He's got apparently they're trying to put a brace on his left knee. That was the injury that he sustained just at the end of the first half. Also, now Mike Sellers came off the field a few moments later. I've never seen anybody in so much pain. Apparently a hand injury. Somebody said he might have even had almost a finger ripped off. They're looking at him right now. A lot of pain. Things not going well for the Eskimos in the injury department, guys.
Yes, as Rod Connop stands right behind you, Ken, you can get a Great look at all those injured players, and there's the big man whose 188 consecutive game streak came to an end when he got hurt in his 250th consecutive game on Labor Day Monday. The pass for Alan Pitts fell incomplete. It's 2nd and 10. Jeff Garcia having kind of a subpar day for him.
Well, I think the Edmonton defense has something to say about it. They've been all over him tonight.
Here's Garcia, lots of time, has Sapunjas. Sapunjas is stopped by Willie Pless, well short of a Calgary first down. He stopped at about the 42-yard line. Dave Sapunjas had 7 catches in each of the last 2 games, but only 1 touchdown in the last 8 games.
He's one of the smart receivers out there in the slot back position. He sees the zone. Now, he broke off his pattern right there to turn around. Fortunately, he has to do that for Calgary. Even though he's short of the first down, he knows if he continues to run, he runs into Trent Brown and Willie Pless in the coverage. So that's what he has to do. Fortunately for Calgary, comes up short of the first down.
Now Mark McLaughlin comes onto the field for Calgary to try a 47-yard field goal. He would break Lance Chomek's record if he continues at his current pace. He had only missed 4 field goals coming into this game, but he did miss earlier. From this distance, in fact, from the 47. And it looks like he's drifted it to the right. He has. Eddie Brown's going to bring it out. Here comes Brown. Up the sidelines. Eddie Brown knocked out of bounds at the 38-yard line. Eddie Brown ignites the spark, and the kicker, Mark McLaughlin, was there to stop him. The crowd roars with approval as a 43-yard return. Edmonton with a 3-point lead. Mark McLaughlin misses the field goal and then has to get to work as Eddie Brown brought it out of the end zone.
Well, you know, Ron Lancaster took a chance on Eddie Brown just before the end of the half, and it cost him 3 points when Brown was held to a 2-yard gain. But you know, this is why he takes the chance, because with the speed of Eddie Brown, at any time he can break it.
You see the flags there that show the wind blowing from the east, but the flags in the goalposts are blowing in a different direction. They might have fooled him. And the give goes to the lead back. That is Jerry Collins on the carry. And Collins, who does not get the ball very often, might have lost a yard on the play.
Well, he had 6 carries coming into the football game. You know he doesn't get the ball that much, but that's what you call a tendency breaker. Defenses will always watch the game film and watch the offensive tendencies. They know that Jerry Collins is not going to get the ball much. Edmonton runs that play just to break the tendency and make them think about Collins a little bit.
The feet of Darren Flutie as he got wiped out by Stu Laird and Rodney Harding, and Stu Laird really put it to Cody Ledbetter.
Well, I tell you what, Cody Ledbetter bought some time, but he paid for it. Stu Laird wanted to plant him in the Commonwealth natural grass. Here comes Anthony McClenahan. He hurdles the first one. The pressure coming from Pope and Will Johnson, and then this is where he gets hit. Look at Stu Laird and Rodney Harding.
When Stu Laird's career began, the Calgary Stampeders lost 18 of their 19 regular season games against Edmonton. He said he was trying to tell the players what it was like, and they dismissed it as the ramblings of an old man. Here comes Terry Vaughn from the 30-yard line, and Vaughn fights his way out to about the 42. Down there quickly to make the stop, among others, is Trent Brown. A 43-yard punt, a return of 12.
Well, Alan Pitts having another great season, second in the league in receiving, and tonight 124 yards. And you know, I did a little math before the game started, and Alan Pitts, if he continues on the pace he is, will pass Ray Elgaard's all-time yardage record in 2.5 seasons. And he will do that about half the time that Elgaard did. How productive Alan Pitts has been.
Alan Pitts has only 4 catches in his last 3 games, but the last one was for a touchdown. Garcia over the middle, hands it to Pitts. Pitts tripped with his own feet. Might have lost a couple of yards. Sigor Mobley there to make the stop, up and jawing at Alan Pitts.
Well, Pitts only had 1 catch against Edmonton in the Labor Day game for 27 yards. He has the touchdown tonight, trying to make amends, wants to get involved in that offense. You know that little crossing route is a pattern that he doesn't usually run. Calgary probably put it in there for this week to get him the football.
second in the league to receiving yards to Eddie Brown of Edmonton. Allen second down. Garcia up over the middle, and the catch is made by Dave Sapunjas, and Sapunjas is down to the Edmonton 45-yard line. The gain for Sapunjas is 24 yards and a Calgary first down.
Dave Sapunjas is the inside guy closest to us. The halfback blitz by Glenn Rogers from the other side. Sapunjas reads it and goes into the open area. He knows he's going to have man-to-man defense. Gets his quarterback the target. Garcia finds him.
Garcia completion to the near side to Travis Moore. He's wrapped up quickly by Malcolm Frank. And Moore is stopped for a gain of about 6. Well, for the Edmonton defense, the situation is simple. They've got to hang in there. Cody Ledbetter is the backup quarterback playing in the game now. He's a first-year player, so they probably can't count on too much from their offense tonight.
Well, you know, the Terminator, Willie Plaster, in the middle there, is going to say to the defense in the huddle, hey, not only do we have to stop them, we may have to score tonight. If any defense can do it, Edmonton can.
Garcia, lots of time. Finds his man, Terry Vaughn. And Vaughn has another first down to the Edmonton 23-yard line. Terry Vaughn was waving like a madman at his quarterback.
Wow, what a season Terry Vaughn is having. I mean, here's a guy who's, when he catches the football, does everything he can to get extra yards. He's up at the top of your screen, the wide receiver. He's going to work back into the middle. Now, he's in the zone. He's trying to find that open area. He sees a little hole, waves, gives his quarterback the target. Garcia finds him in between Mobley and Willie Plaster.
Terry Vaughn, 5 punt returns for 106 yards last week. A big part of Calgary's win over Edmonton on Labor Day.
That's just a great all-around football play. I mean, you see great coverage. Number 1 by Glenn Rogers initially. He's running, but Malcolm Frank is the key. He comes off his man when the ball's in the air and gets in the face of Alan Pitts. And I can't believe Garcia even got this ball off. Look at the pressure he's under. Randy Goods, Melvin Hunter, all over.
Second down. Garcia from the shotgun. Pressure again. Garcia again. End zone. Incomplete, looking for Pitts. Malcolm Frank was there again.
You know, defensive backs are often only gauged on their interceptions throughout a season. Malcolm Frank does not have one for the Edmonton Eskimos. But when you talk to Ron Lancaster, he'll tell you that Frank has been his best defensive back. The guy has 6 knockdowns. Another one here, although it's out of bounds. He helped out on Glenn Rogers on the previous play, and then comes up with another big play for Edmonton right there. I mean, Pitts has initially is open. Frank finds him, turns around, gets that ball out of bounds.
Mark McLaughlin will try one from the 31, this to tie the game. And McLaughlin puts it through. The Calgary Stampeders have trailed for much of the football game, but now even at 13 with Edmonton. You're watching the CFL live on TSN. Mark McLaughlin, the CFL's most accurate place kicker over the last couple of years, has the field goal to even the game at 13.
Good hold. And there goes the kick. Kevin Reed puts it down. And perfect. You know, Mark McLaughlin also has a game this season where he tied Dave Ridgway with 8 field goals in a game.
That time the kickoff goes out of bounds and he'll have to do it again.
Well, he wasn't trying for the uprights and threw him off.
There's
the record right there. 8 field goals. Ridgway broke it twice.
Did you hold for both those?
No, I held in 1988, but in 1984 it was Stu Fraser.
So at some point you're sitting there like, you know, obviously not keeping track, but you're saying, man, we've done this a lot, right?
Yeah, well, you know, I wasn't, but when we went out just before the 8th one, Dave Ridgway said to me, he says, you know, this is for the record.
Is that what he said?
Yeah. Don't want to put any pressure on you, but we'll tie a record here if we kick this one. Oh, thanks a lot, buddy.
So McLaughlin will be forced to kick it off again from 10 yards back, and you can see that Dwayne Mandrusiak, the veteran, the equipment manager for Edmonton, is going to work.
Hey, Dwayne, he's trying to find more equipment. The hitting is so, the hitting is tremendous in this game. He's got to find bigger pads for these guys.
Now from the 30, McLaughlin will kick it off. Jerry Collins and Darian Hagan back deep to receive. Hagan from the 17. And you can hear the hits all the way up here. Darian Hagan out across the 35 to the 36. An 18-yard kickoff return. Now the question is, a defensive player, you've got a rookie quarterback, Cody Ledbetter. He's obviously having some problems. He's new.
Yeah.
How do you play him defensively?
Well, I'll tell you what you do. You send the house. Then you send the cabin and the cottage and everything else. Because Cody Ledbetter has not seen a lot of different defensive looks, so you send the linebackers, and you can bet Alondra Johnson, Anthony McClanahan will be coming on some blitzes.
Ledbetter is 1 for 5 passing. And he is sacked. Rodney Harding gets him. The veteran Rodney Harding, in his 12th year, gets his 9th sack of the season. And he had 3 against Edmonton on Monday.
Well, okay, you don't have to send a lot of linebackers. If you've got a Rodney Harding, he's working on Ed Kusi. Great swim move. The big arm comes over the top. Rodney Harding gets in there and gets the sack. And there's the record that Rodney Harding holds in the CFL. 5 in a game.
Here they come again. Ledbetter completes it to Eddie Brown. No, he doesn't. Brown can't hang on. Cody Ledbetter threw a strike, and Eddie Brown dropped it.
Oh, man, he did the old look before you catch the football. You can't blame Cody Ledbetter. This is one where there should be an asterisk in the statistics at the end of the night, because that one was in the perfect spot. And that's where the quarterback goes over the receiver and says, what happened? I hit you in a bad spot. Ledbetter had to take the punishment after throwing that perfect strike from Big Daddy Marvin Pope.
Cody Ledbetter, the all-time leading passer in the history of his school, New Mexico State. He's getting the test tonight. Glenn Harper with a good kick. Coleman from the 40. Here comes Marvin Coleman. Out across the 50 to the 52. Let's send you down to Ken Chilbeck. Ken?
Dropped by Jim Powers, number 43.
Yeah, Danny McManus was sitting on the bench, very dejected. Just a few seconds ago, I walked up to him. I said, is it the knee? He looked at me and he said, yeah. Simple as that. Things not going too well. One name stands out right now as a possible quarterback. Somebody mentioned Warren Jones might be coming here. The phone is ringing, you can bet right now.
Well, his CFL career can begin in Edmonton, so I'm sure if McManus can't play next week, the Eskimos will have to do something. What if Ledbetter gets hurt tonight? Garcia for Sapudges. And Sapudges has a gain of 8 as he's tackled by Singor Mobley, and now they get their feet tangled up. I suppose Eddie Brown might be the quarterback of choice for Edmonton. Brown has thrown passes before. Darren Flutie might be another guy.
Well, you know, the teams usually have an emergency quarterback. I remember Ray Elgard in Saskatchewan was the emergency quarterback, just in case you lost both. So you're right, Eddie Brown has shown some passes on those reverses. Maybe he'll be the third guy.
He was a quarterback in college, I think, his first year. Second down, Garcia. Lots of time, wide open, Alan Pitts, but the pass was at his feet. The CFL's top 2 receivers have both been wide open.
Well, I'm not really sure if that ball was intended for Travis Moore and was slightly overthrown, or it was intended for Alan Pitts. Here comes Travis Moore underneath number 83. He goes up, and it's just overthrown to him and just underthrown to Alan Pitts. So maybe Jeff Garcia just couldn't decide.
Pitts just didn't look like he was expecting the ball.
No, well, that's why, because Travis Moore had jumped up and went right through his head.
Tony Martino to punt. 1:20 to play in the third quarter of a tremendous football game in Edmonton. Oh, they almost got it, but Martino booms one. Baker from his 8. And forced out of bounds at the Tony Martino. A 42-yard punt, a return of 1. So the Edmonton offense hemmed in deep again, and that means that this guy, Eric Blunt, is likely to get some work.
You can think that they're got to go back to their original game plan, and Ron Lancaster initially had Eric Blunt involved a lot more. He ran a lot of draws with them, screened both backs, and had a lot of running plays involving Eric Blunt in the first quarter. They went away from it a little bit. I think they got to go back to it because that's when they had most of their success.
They start at their own 10. Under a minute to play in the third quarter. He finds his way up to the 15-yard line before Anthony McClanahan makes the stop.
Yeah, so we say that's exactly what they do. Eric Blunt gets the ball. Now what that does is set up Edmonton and the rookie quarterback in Cody Ledbetter in a second and medium to short situation. When you go to call your plays now, you have so many more options. I mean, you can run another running play here and still pick up the first down.
It away. Shalon Baker went up and the ball went out.
Well, two things happen on that play. First of all, you have Cody Ledbetter, who doesn't have a lot of reps in practice, and during the blitz situation, Shalon Baker read one type of blitz and went up the field. Cody Ledbetter thought he was going to run the out, but I tell you what, if Ledbetter did throw that out, Marvin Pullman's got pixies in a dance in the end zone.
And I think we got a penalty here. There's been pushing and shoving after the whistle, and we'll see what Ken Lazarick has to say.
Major foul, face mask, Calgary number 77, first down Edmonton.
Wow, Rodney Harding called for the face mask. Edmonton with the first down.
Rodney Harding is after the play, gets into the fight right there with looks like Leo Groenwagen and Chris Green.
Wow. And it results in Edmonton's first down of the second half. It comes on what should be the final play of the third quarter.
That's Harding again.
Yeah, we got flags down again.
Boy, I tell you what, he is fuming right now.
Legal procedure, Edmonton, number 53, still first down.
Aha, Chris Green drew him off. How long has Rodney Harding been around in the Canadian Football League? He's in his 12th year, and one of the quarterbacks he sacked the most was John Hufnagel, who is now the offensive coordinator, the man on the right, for the Calgary Stampeders. There's Frank Spaziani, the defensive coordinator.
That's a long time.
Quickly by guess who? Rodney Harding. And so Mr. Harding comes up with the stop. And now, for a change, John Hufnagel, the offensive coordinator, will be happy to see it. Even at 13, Calgary and Edmonton set for what should be a dandy fourth quarter.
Helping to keep Eskimo and CFL football an affordable family entertainment event. For years, keeping the safety on the outside.
CFL Live at the Quarter, brought to you by Subway, the place where fresh is the taste.
Welcome to our CFL Live studio. I'm Darren Detition, along with Marty York, columnist for the Globe and Mail, Les Brown to his right, and the coach, Bob Obilovich. You know what? This rivalry is not for the faint of heart. We've been watching the game since the opening kickoff. Two great defensive teams going toe-to-toe.
And it's exactly what we expected. When you look at the stats defensively, there's 25 defensive categories. In this game, Edmonton and Calgary have 22 of the top 25 of the leaders in this game. Edmonton has 13 of the leads of the 25, and Calgary has 9. That leaves 22. Probably Toronto has the rest of the top in that leading.
And what it all boils down to is a lot of smash-mouth football, right, Coach?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think this is a perfect matchup. The Labor Day doubleheader between Calgary and Edmonton is true to form. Both teams always seem to win at home against each other, and this is going to go right down to the fourth quarter to see who's going to win this one.
Well, and this game was so physically, this game is so physical that Edmonton lost their quarterback in the second quarter, Danny McManus. That's the key thing that's happened. And you could see it on the screen here. McManus goes walking off when he was sacked, and he hurt his knee. I think he's going to be out for a little while. Cody Ledbetter, the backup, is not good enough, which brings us to David Archer. He may be available if there is a waiver draft if Ottawa doesn't make it on Monday.
Here we go.
And David Archer could end up in Edmonton after all.
Danny McManus isn't even off the field yet, and already David Archer's coming in. I expect him to pop through the exit and hop on there. If ifs and buts were candies and nuts, it'd be Christmas every day. That's a lot of ifs. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Let's return to Commonwealth Stadium. We've got the fourth quarter of football to be played. Gentlemen?
Yeah, thanks very much, Jared. I'll tell you what, the big story of the CFL tonight is all the money being stolen by those guys in the studio. They sit there for 3 quarters and do nothing.
And you know what? I've been in the studio before. I bet you they ordered a pizza.
I'll bet you they did too. And I'll bet you they didn't pay for it. No. The Eskimos start the fourth quarter at their own 23-yard line, second and long. Here comes Ledbetter under pressure. And there's nothing good going to come of this. Ledbetter got buried by Marvin Pope at the 12-yard line and threw the pass incomplete. Will Johnson there as well.
I'll tell you what, Cody Ledbetter's been on the run throughout this game since he's replaced Danny McManus, and he has no shot. He has to get out of there right away. Stu Laird up the middle, and then Will Johnson runs him down. And this is about the 4th time that Cody Ledbetter has had this view at the end of a play.
Hope Will Johnson wore deodorant. That's what Cody Ledbetter's been seeing. Now, Glenn Harper in a punt. And the punt cover team has been Edmonton's Achilles heel against Calgary in the last game and a half. Harper, high, soaring kick. Coleman from his 47. Dives ahead across midfield to the Edmonton 52-yard line. And the stop is made by Errol Martin. The stats are brought to you by Tremco Mana Ultra Sealant, the best sealant for all your caulking needs. And you can see that Edmonton still has the advantage in first downs, and really not much to choose between these two teams except for the one turnover by the Edmonton Eskimos, the interception by Al Jordan, but it didn't cost them.
And you look at the time of possession, it's almost identical, and that's just because both defenses have been playing so well. They're not allowing either offense to get on a roll.
Calgary with good field position. Kelvin Anderson, he got smacked. Kelvin Anderson got absolutely buried on that play by Leroy Blue.
Well, you see Leroy Blue holding his arm up and feeling those ribs. Leroy Blue in the last 2 games has had to have those ribs frozen to be able to play. And it's that side, the right side ribs, that he has the injury on, and he lowered the boom on Kelvin Anderson on the side that's sore.
Anderson's got 6 carries for 5 yards in this game. From the shotgun, Garcia. Over the top for Sapuntis. Makes the catch. Trent Brown stops him. But Dave Sapuntis makes the catch. Good for a Calgary first down to the 25. The pickup is 25 yards.
The Edmonton Eskimos were sending the pressure. Larry Ruck's going to drop out of the middle. Sigor Mobley's going on the blitz, and Ruck is running with Sapuntis, but he has to get help from safety Trent Brown. Trent Brown can't get over, and Jeff Garcia threw in a perfect touch pass over Ruck in front of Trent Brown, right on the money to that guy, David Sapuntis.
Yeah, just another regular season game.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, this is just game 11. First down, again goes to Anderson, and again he is stacked up at the 25-yard line. This Edmonton defense so tough. They've allowed the fewest points per game, the fewest yards.
They're second in the league against the run, and first in the league is the Calgary Stampeders. And they're first in the league versus the pass, Edmonton is. I mean, there's Mike Sellers being attended to, and to tell you what, this game has been very, very physical. They just flat out don't like each other.
Second and long. Garcia under pressure. Gets away and steps out of bounds. Another huge play from the Edmonton defense. And Jeff Garcia is pushed out of bounds at the 30-yard line. Calgary will have to try the field goal.
Well, you know what? When the Edmonton Eskimos get down, backed up in their own end, that's when they get the toughest. Their secondary has only allowed 5 passing touchdowns, which is #1 in the Canadian Football League, and Jeff Garcia cannot find anybody to throw the ball to.
Well, Jeff Garcia was looking down the field, and here's wide. Alan Pitts was wide open. Give me the rock, give me the rock.
Oh, yeah, but receivers always think they're open.
Now, Mark McLaughlin to give Calgary the lead from the 39-yard line. And McLaughlin puts it through. Calgary with a 16-13 lead as they go toe-to-toe at Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton. Cody Ledbetter directing the Edmonton offense. I was talking to him a couple of weeks ago, and of course he fumbled on his first snap as a pro quarterback. He said, that's nothing. My first pass in college at New Mexico State, the pass was intercepted and returned for a touchdown. It was the CNN play of the day.
Well, he bounced back in college to break all the records in New Mexico, so.
And he gets sacked. Stu Laird in his 13th year. And he loves playing Edmonton more than anybody. And that's not the rambling of an old man like the Calgary Stampeders were bugging him earlier. That's the play of a veteran.
Well, Stu Laird is playing nose right in the middle. He's just going to straight pass rush up the middle. You see him slide as the pocket slides, then he cuts back, and Cody Ledbetter gets tattooed by big number 75. He's having a pretty good year in his 13th season. 4 sacks so far. 96.
The loss was 7. Here they come again. Over the middle they go. What a catch! Darren Flutie. Flutie will be short of the first down, but he gets them up to the 40-yard line. What a grab by Darren Flutie.
It was big in 2 reasons. One, it got a lot of field position back for Edmonton, but the other thing, it was the type of ball that usually goes through the hands of the receiver and into the defensive back standing behind them. Cody Ledbetter just throws it back against his body, and watch how Flutie goes way up, double clutches it, catches the back end of the ball, and saw the DBs back there waiting for that deflection. Flutie wouldn't allow it.
Play football, man. Let's go, Harper.
Good punt by Harper. Here's Coleman from the 20. And tripped up quickly to the 23-yard line. Errol Martin got down to help make the stop, but look at him go. Coleman shoves his man down in a war in Edmonton. Dave Sapunjas led the league in receiving yards last year. For more on Sponge, here's Ken Chillibeck.
Okay, thanks, Gord. I just talked to him 2 seconds ago. Actually, he talked to me. He smiled at me. He said they lost McManus. The Eskimos won't score. Simple as that, guys.
Wow. Maybe the defense will score, though. We've seen that a time or two. Stamps from their own 27. Play action. Garcia up and throwing and looking for Alan Pitts. Pitts makes the catch up at the 35-yard line. Decent Bunches, by the way, has been a guy kind of left out along with Alan Pitts. They're not used to this kind of treatment. Doug Flutie threw to them all the time.
Well, the problem is Terry Vaughn and Travis Moore on the outside are having outstanding seasons, and Jeff Garcia has the arm strength to get the ball out there and loves to throw to the wide receivers, so that takes away some of the balls from the Bunches.
Are you saying Doug Flutie has a bad arm?
No, I'm not.
Because you know he's watching.
No, I am not. Doug Flutie has a very strong. He just likes the inside guys.
Second down. Garcia under pressure from Benny Good. Gets away and gets it out for Sapunjas for a Calgary first down to the 42-yard line.
You know, that's an interesting comment by Dave Sapunjas about the backup quarterback over there, Cody Ledbetter, for the Edmonton Eskimos, because you know what it does? It relaxes you offensively. I mean, they're in a tight football game. You're trying to force things. Calgary looked sluggish in the first half offensively, but now they're relaxed. They feel like their defense will stop Edmonton every time out. They can just go out and play ball.
First down from the 42-yard line. Here comes the rush. Garcia has nowhere to go. Leroy Blue and Singor Mobley share the sack.
Yeah, I believe it was Leroy Blue gets the initial contact. Singor Mobley's coming up on the blitz from his linebacker position. Garcia can't find anyone initially. He has to go to his second read, and when he does that, that gives Blue time to get up in there and get the sack with the help of Singor Mobley.
And the loss on the play is a big one. 9 yards. Second and long, and the Edmonton defense tries to hold the Eskimos in it. Garcia from the shotgun, under pressure again. Finds his way outside. Over the middle. Hodges is open. Almost intercepted. Wow. Malcolm Frank had it and dropped it. Would have been as good as a punt for Calgary, though.
Yeah, but Malcolm Frank had a lot of room to run that interception back. Garcia breaks contained. Derek McCready got caught inside and then throws it down the field. Malcolm Frank, who's played a tremendous football game helping other guys out, comes over to help on Dave Sapunjas. He's coming off his man, drops off into the zone. There he is, just doesn't come up with the interception.
Malcolm Frank does not have an interception this year.
No, but he's leading the team in knockdowns, and he just got another one.
Maybe he's got a knockdown bonus in his contract. Martino to punt. And they kick it away from Shalon Baker, and it's a good kick that rolls to the sidelines and out of bounds at the 31-yard line. That ball may still be in bounds, but they said it touched the sidelines.
And you know, when you look at that, they get the ball right now in the 31. Malcolm Frank had that interception. Had he just fallen down there, it's been 10 yards more of real estate.
A 46-yard punt, no return. Who would come in if Cody Ledbetter got hurt? We forgot about one guy. Yeah, Darian Hagan, who was the quarterback for the national champion University of Colorado.
Yeah, we were talking about maybe Eddie Brown.
Maybe Eddie Brown.
Yeah. How about this guy?
How about the guy who finished in the top 5 at Heisman Trophy voting in 91?
Yeah, I think he'd be the guy.
First down. Draw play, Eric Blunt. And he is buried by about 5 Calgary Stampeders. 7:14 to play in the fourth quarter. The Edmonton Eskimos trail by 3. Two good defenses going toe-to-toe. It's funny, you know, you talk about the importance of the Labor Day game, though, and I think it's always talked about. Talking to Doug Flutie last week during the Hamilton, or before the Hamilton-Toronto game, he said, hey, 2 years in a row, the winner of the Labor Day game lost the playoff meeting. Maybe not such a big deal.
Tremendous pressure. Ed Kusi is on the ground because of that pressure. He is injured. Ledbetter got nailed. That ball fluttered.
Oh, look at Ledbetter. He's bleeding.
I mean, he got nailed. He's been getting hit all games. He got hit again, but that ball fluttered, and Mark Tolbert comes back to the football, goes up, catches it in the air. DB's all over the place. Comes down with the football, and here comes the pressure on Cody Ledbetter.
Oh.
He gets hit high, he gets low by Anthony McClanahan. Stu Laird also hits him, and Ed Kusi, who's right in the mix there, is the injured ball player, and you can see how his knee got twisted by Stu Laird at the bottom of that pile. Cody Ledbetter on top of it as well.
Ed Kusi, a 24-year-old, his first year as a starter, the former Winnipeg Blue Bomber. He's one of 7 Edmonton natives on the roster for the Edmonton Eskimos. And they're checking the left knee. Now, that would mean that Derek Scholdice would have to come in for Edmonton. The Eskimos had their offensive line intact for the first 10 games. Now they're having to make some changes. Edmonton trails by 3, and the crowd is on its feet trying to urge the Eskimos back in.
Good thing her little sister likes hand-me-downs.
Welcome back to Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton. The Eskimos have the ball at the Calgary 41-yard line. The give goes to Eric Blunt, and Alondra Johnson comes in to make the stop immediately. So Ed Kusi is out of the game for Edmonton for now, and checking in is Derek Scholdice, number 62, Edmonton's second-round pick in the 95 Canadian Football League draft. Ed Kusi receiving the attention there on the benches. The injured Nick Mazzoli tries to block our view of him for reasons known only to him. Second and 11. Ledbetter, good fake. Now running for his life. Throws
case to get the officials to start thinking about that and not the fact that there might have been interference on the play. I don't think there was. Marvin Colvin did a nice job of coverage down the sideline, turned back to the football when he should. You see his head looks back to the ball. That ball hits the turf. Good coverage by Marvin Colvin.
So now the Eskimos will try the field goal to tie it. That Mark Tolbert catch was huge to get them down to this point. Now Sean Fleming will try a field goal from the 49-yard line. He missed for the first time this year in the first half.
His longest this year is 50.
This to tie the game. Mishit it. Goes wide into the end zone. Now do they bring it out? Yeah, Coleman's bringing it out to the 11-yard line. Now if the Edmonton Eskimo defense holds, maybe they got a chance. But Jeff Garcia and the Calgary offense will go to work with the lead 16-13 as it looked like Fleming just mishit that.
Well, you know, sometimes it's like a good golf swing. You don't want to change and try and kick the ball too hard. The lace is turned away, and I think Sean Fleming just tried to kick that one too hard, and when you do that, got out of his rhythm, and he just mishit it. Just have to hit the sweet spot on the football, just like a golf ball. Don't really have to swing any harder.
Now the Stamps start from their own 11-yard line. 5 minutes to play in the fourth quarter. Garcia looking to run. He's got room to go. And dives across the 20 to the 24. I was about to mention that we haven't seen the quarterback draw yet. Garcia scored a touchdown on it on Monday.
Yeah, and I don't know that was drawn up as the quarterback draw, but Jeff Garcia has great ability to take off and run. He's aggressive when he runs the football. He likes to lower the shoulder and put the hit on the would-be tacklers. That time he saw the opening and took off.
Big first down for the Calgary offense. Now Garcia gets it to Anderson. And Anderson kind of faked up Willie Pless and got the first down. He made Willie Pless look behind him and then just ran right by him and got the first down.
Did a real good job to set up a block. Travis Moore, I believe it was, who was blocking on Willie Pless. Willie Pless breaks out to the flat. Now see Kelvin Anderson turns around and sets up the block. Here comes Travis Moore, picks off Pless, and that gives Anderson the room to the outside.
Kind of a bizarre play when Pless took his eye off the ball carrier and then saw Anderson run around him. Now you've got another injured Edmonton Eskimo on the play. And the hurts are starting to mount up for the Eskimos.
I don't think there's enough ice in Edmonton for these two teams after this game.
Hey, there might just be soon. It snowed in northern Alberta yesterday.
Hard to tell who's down. It looks like it could be Larry Ruck.
I think it's Derek McCready, but I'm not sure. I believe it's Derek McCready, number 79, who's down. And it is indeed the big man who came over in the offseason for the BC Lions. McCready's had problems with his left arm. In fact, when we were here 2 weeks ago, he was wearing a heavy pad protecting that left arm, and we'll see what happened to Derek McCready.
The hitting is brutal in this game, and even the receivers. Here's Dave Sapunjas are getting in on the action. He cracks back on Derek McCready right there. And hits him right in the chest.
And Derek McCready outweighs him by a good 60 pounds. So McCready makes his way to the sidelines, but appears to be all right. The Stamps have it 1st and 10 at their own 38. Setting up the screen pass, incomplete, and Jeff Garcia got hammered down and hard. Thrown down by Jed Roberts.
Well, Jed Roberts comes on and replaced Derek McCready, who has to sit out 3 plays now, even though I think he's only winded on the sideline. But he puts a hit on Jeff Garcia, and Garcia just threw that screen pass while he was getting hit. He threw it too hard. is that fifth receiver for the Calgary Stampeders. Darian Hagan is the injured Edmonton Eskimo underneath that scrum of trainers, doctors.
And he's lying on the ground. So that's more bad news for the Edmonton Eskimos. We've hit the 3-minute warning. The Stampeders have the ball, the lead, and time on their side.
CFL Live on TSN. Brought to you in part by Pepsi. Nothing else is a Pepsi. And by the Alliance of Canada's only full-service telecommunications companies. Proud sponsors of the Canadian Olympic team.
Darian Hagan, the injured Edmonton Eskimo, receiving the attention on the sidelines, and this is what happened to him 3 plays ago.
Trying to get in on the tackle, and looks like he just goes down holding his wrist.
The focus right now is on the field. Derek Beattie, number 17, has come in to play defensive back for him. It's first down Calgary from the Edmonton 54. Here's the quarterback draw. And he gets hammered. Willie Flash drops him in his tracks at the 50.
Well, I tell you what, when you need a big play from this Edmonton defense, it's Willie Pless, 3-time outstanding defensive player in the Canadian Football League. This guy's going to make it. He comes up, and I tell you what, he delivers there. He's the hammer on that play. With a huge play for Edmonton. I think Garcia did that one on his own.
Now Tony Martino to punt. Eddie Brown is back deep to receive with Shalon Baker. Edmonton leads the league in punt return yards. Martino kicks it down the middle. Eddie Brown from the 5. Reversing his field. Brown trying for the corner.
Watch out.
Here comes Eddie Brown. Watch out. One man to beat, the kicker. And Tony Martino gets him at the 35. 1:47 to play in the fourth quarter. It's a 30-yard return of a 43-yard punt. Edmonton will try to get the field goal to tie it.
And what a return by Eddie Brown. He had to have great speed to be able to pull it off. He's got to get to the outside. Ryan Bates can't get him there. He cuts it up on his way forward and then takes off. It's not for Tony Martino. He's in the end zone.
Tony Ledbetter, a cornerback for the injured Danny McManus. Play action. Fake the reverse. Ledbetter going deep for Eddie Brown. And the pass is over his head. Al Jordan was there on the coverage, step for step with Eddie Brown. Now, while all of this is going on, Darian Hagan leaves the field with his arm in a split. You almost never see that.
That's got to be broken arm, and tell you, they're down to one quarterback. They got a minute 41. Cody Ledbetter is the only guy left. He's got to get it done for Edmonton.
Danny McManus injured late in the first half, having perhaps his best game as an Edmonton Eskimo when he got hurt. 1:41 to play in the fourth quarter. Early movement, no flags. Ledbetter, wide side out, but Eric Blunt gets nothing. Great coverage by Al Jordan. It'll be 3rd and 10.
Well, now you're in the situation, Cody Ledbetter, Ron Lancaster. Do you gamble? Do you play 3-down football with a minute 34 left in your end of the field? Are you going to get a chance to get that ball back if you punt it? And I think Ron Lancaster has decided it's now or never.
They mark it as a gain of 2. well, the Stampeders, with 1:11 to play, see the clock winding down slowly. And now start again. Wally Buono, 9-9 as a head coach against the Edmonton Eskimos, about to go to 10-9. And the Stampeders are about to win their 4th regular season game against the Edmonton Eskimos in a row. Anderson. Nothing. 49 seconds to go.
Young Cody Ledbetter is going to get another chance. Ron Lancaster calls the timeout, stops the clock.
You got to block it, right?
And you heard him say, Edmonton has to block it.
There's the block signal, the crossed arms. Lancaster sending in. He's going to send everybody after Mark McLaughlin on this field goal attempt.
And on the right, you saw him talking to Tom Higgins. He's Edmonton's assistant general manager. He was also Calgary's special teams coach for 9 years.
Well, you know, during the week they worked on the block, haven't run it so far throughout the game, but here's a chance where they have to do it, get that block. Now, if Lancaster's talking to his quarterback.
And you saw Ronnie with the big smile talking to Glenn Ledbetter. He says, this is what it's all about.
Well, because, you know, even if McLaughlin makes this field goal, Edmonton's still going to have another shot. Be down by 6.
From the 43. What if he misses? He puts it through. Calgary with a 6-point lead. 19-13, 45 seconds to play. 2 outstanding defenses. And a football game that doesn't see much to choose between 2 rivals. And this is the closest Edmonton-Calgary game in a long time. The last 9 Edmonton-Calgary regular season games have been decided by 11 points or more.
Danny McManus left in the first half, has an injured knee, could not return, and Cody Ledbetter, and he's got 45 seconds. Edmonton win.
3-man rush. Ledbetter fires a strike to Mark Tolbert at midfield.
Wow. What a catch. Tolbert took a huge hit by Marvin Coleman when he caught that football and hung on.
The gain was 30 yards. Disapproval. Second down from midfield. 31 seconds to play. Here comes the blitz. Ledbetter delivers. Brown makes the catch. He'll have a first down at the 44-yard line. 24 seconds to go.
Unbelievable play by Cody Ledbetter. Calgary's going with the halfback blitz. They sent everybody. Stu Lord was in there. Ledbetter stood in, delivered a strike for the first down. Not over yet.
Cody Ledbetter has never thrown a touchdown pass in the Canadian Football League. Runs it to Eddie Brown. Brown tripped up inside the 30 to the 27. 18 seconds to play. I'll tell you what, there's a lot of people who left this stadium that are hearing that roar and they're wondering what's going on. Clock is running. Here comes the rush. Let's on the field. What's the call?
Well, Marvin Coleman had jumped on the extra point, but was he drawn offside?
Offside, Calgary, number 17.
So, if he was offside, why are they re-kicking the convert? What is going on here? What is going on?
Well, if he was offside, unless the whistle blew, and they kicked the convert anyway. Now Calgary has called a timeout. Now here's one of the scenarios. I mean, Marvin Coleman jumps outside, the official blows the whistle, stops the play, but they kick the field goal anyway. They have to reload and kick it again, even though it was a Calgary penalty. Had they not blown it dead, then of course Edmonton could just decline the penalty, keep a single point.
I'll tell you what, if Fleming somehow misses the convert, hits the upright or something, we are going to have a major problem here. So Fleming will try it again for the win. Fleming puts it through. And now the Eskimos have won the game. Absolutely astounding. A rookie quarterback. An injured offensive line. A 9-1 team that had trashed them 5 days before. And the Edmonton Eskimos beat the Calgary Stampeders in another classic.
Ron Lancaster smiled at Cody Ledbetter just before the last drive with under a minute to go. And he said, this is what it's all about to the young quarterback. It relaxed him. Ledbetter went in there, showed tremendous poise, and in the very last play of the game, finds Darren Flutie to win it. Unbelievable.
Cody Ledbetter, the touchdown pass to Darren Flutie, and remember the catch in the end zone in '94 in the Western Final for Darren Flutie? Well, he'll remember this one too.
Look at the poise of Ledbetter. Buys himself some more time and then throws a strike right at the goalpost. And Darren Flutie comes up with the huge catch. Unbelievable.
I mean, the Stamps cannot believe what happened to them.
Darren Flutie's here and works all the way across the field. And the only reason he's allowed to do that is because of the poise of Ledbetter. He fights through the jam there, goes into the middle. Now he knows he's got to get into the end zone, so he'll back up across the line, catch it as he hits the goalpost.
I'll guarantee you this. There's a guy in Mississauga, Ontario, who's cheering tonight. Doug Flutie doesn't miss a game, and I'm sure he watched this and said, I've been in a few games like that. But Sean Fleming puts the point after through on the second try. Cody Ledbetter threw the touchdown pass that got him there. Edmonton and Calgary play another one for the ages. Cody Ledbetter will be our guest when we come back as Edmonton wins it 20-19.
Carbon
CFL Live on TSN. Brought to you by Corel, world leader in CD-ROM technology.
And make sure you join us for our next game here on the CFL Live. It's the Montreal Alouettes as they travel to Calgary to take on the Stamps. You know, the Stamps are going to be in a very bitter mood. That's Friday, September the 13th. Oh boy, do you believe in bad luck? We're on the air at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Bad luck for the Stamps tonight. Great luck for the Eskies as they are victorious. Thanks for watching, everybody. Good night from all of us here at the CFL Live.
This is TSN.